Hello, so initially I didn't think you would need a map for the farm city, but to be honest, there are so many things you need to understand and to learn about the map that it's kind of hard to do it without. So this will be a map for the end game, or especially for people who are just questing and don't find a certain thing. Let's begin with the bosses. Now, this is for loot, this is for something special, this is for supplies, this is for the bosses. The merchant is over here, but there are a lot of other things we have to speak about. So let's start with the bosses. Now, the bosses. The arcade machine will be over here, and it's one of the first bosses you probably would have to kill. Why is the arcade machine useful to kill as a boss? Well, you can get the black and white. Again, one of the things that is not really mentioned in the game is that the bosses have a certain percentage to drop something. So for example, the arcade machine can sometimes drop the black and white monitor, sometimes a boss can drop a crafting recipe, a blueprint for something, or sometimes they will not drop anything, except their basic gear. So just keep that in mind, that you might need to kill might need to kill bosses multiple times to get their blueprints. The most famous one is the Speedy Captain from Warehouse, where sometimes you'll drop his electric M7 blueprint, but sometimes you'll not drop it for 3 or 4 deaths. So keep that in mind. Now, the loot for the arcade machine is the black and white monitor, but also the toy gun that will be used to make, I think, the candy gun, if I remember correctly. So you will need both his special weapons. So you need to kill this guy probably 3 times. One for the color monitor and another 2 for a for 2 toy guns, because you need one of them to upgrade into a candy gun. So very important. Now, the RPG guy missile has quite a big spawn rate or a spawn range, so I found them anywhere around here, so it's worth mentioning that that's kind of like the extreme spawning of a boss. He usually just carries an RPG launcher. I don't think there's any reason to kill him just to get his RPG or the RPG rockets. You might have some fun getting the RPG and killing a boss with that, but you need more ammo that you can buy from the blue trader. So a missile can spawn in a very big area around here, and I think he can also spawn near these locations, but I think the reason he doesn't spawn beyond this location, he can spawn on any street, is because he doesn't want to interfere with the other bosses, but it's quite dangerous where he can spawn, because he can sometimes spawn near the construction site, which will make him very close to the mad bomber, and they will probably make it very hard to fight both of them. Yeah, so not much reason to fight that guy. Let's speak about the Mad Bomber. The Mad Bomber is part of a few quests, but also it's very important to kill him because it's kind of like the best way to prepare for boss fights. And lately I noticed that he can also drop the Dynamite Cluster, which I think is just a huge amount of damage, a huge amount of grenade damage. But you also have the poison gas grenades and the electro grenades, and he also drops some blue cube. So because of the way he drops items, also some blue cube and some other stuff, he's probably one of the more interesting bosses to fight, because he'll actually give you more material to fight other bosses. Plus you'll need them for a lot of quests. So he'll hang around construction sites, so he can be near this one. But he can also be, well, I guess, I don't want to say the abandoned one. He can also be near here, so here. I don't want to say he spawned somewhere around here, but I'm pretty sure I saw him a couple of times below here as well. Just is very, very rare. Usually his area is over here. This is a yard, this is another yard. So search these 2 locations for the Mad Bomber. Otherwise, he might spawn somewhere around down here, but I kind of forgot where I found him once or twice. He just likes the construction sites. Okay, let's go over here. The Mad Shotgunner over here, he's always at the radar station. He doesn't spawn anywhere else. He's actually pretty fun to fight, and he'll give you the Flaming Toes, which is not such a great weapon, but it's actually pretty fun to use a couple of times. So, not much to say about this boss. Very important for some other stuff as well. Okay, the Triple Shotman. This is kind of like a bigger discussion, because sometimes you'll hide. Usually you know it's him because you'll have guards with him, the triple shot kits that will dodge a lot. So if you see enemies with helmets that dodge, yeah, you know he spawned. Sometimes he can be very far away from his minions, but I found them usually over here. So if you pick the southern spawn, this is the house over here. He can spawn somewhere along this line over here, something like that. He can also be somewhere deeper inside the compound, but usually this is where he likes to hang out. I don't think he can move around a lot, but very strong boss. He will drop a gun that you'll probably like to use a lot. So if you want to have a little bit of a challenge, but also have a great gun to use for the entire game. Just kill him a couple of times. He's pretty fun to fight, unless he kills you very fast, in which case he's not very fun to fight. Over here in this southern warehouse is the senior manager spawn, which sometimes doesn't happen, but sadly, well, let's just say like this. The developers increased the spawn chance for this guy because he can drop a blue keycard. But sadly, it's a very low chance, like something 5% chance to drop a blue keycard, but usually people want to farm this boss a lot of times to get a blue keycard. To be honest, I think the best chance of you getting a blue keycard is killing the senior manager, so you definitely have to kill him at least, let's say, 10-50 times before you give up. Maybe you'll get a blue card, maybe you won't. He's also needed for a quest, so I recommend you try it, because otherwise you'll just have to do the route with the marked rooms. So you'll do one room, 2 rooms, and then you can just come over here and kill him for a chance to get the blue key card, which is super important, like I mentioned, because it's not a regular loot drop. It's something very special. Some of the other bosses will be like that anyway. And over here we just have the manager. So no, this is the, I think this is the miner. This is the senior miner. No, this is the manager and this is the miner, or something like that, because it's in the hidden mine, but this is a crypto mine, by the way. Anyway, doesn't matter what they're called. I think this is the manager, this is the miner. The miner usually, about, I don't know, 70% of the times will be in the gas station, or even a lot more times. And this is a bit of a discussion, because you need to kill him without using a headshot. I recommend you use a grenade, or just fire behind them, that way there's no chance you'll get headshot. And he'll drop his eyes. He's also needed for a few quests, but I like that the eye drop, that's exactly what it is, his eye drop. You get the idea, it's a loot. And you can use that eye to enter the hidden mine. The hidden mine doesn't have a ton of loot, but to be honest, usually it's near the extraction points, and over here you can have JLab tier 1 entrance keys. Some of them can spawn over here, some of them can spawn over here. And since he's so close to the extraction point, and he's kind of like a, he's not a hard boss, he's actually one of the easier bosses to fight. You can just get his eyes and check the hidden mine, which is a great amount of loot sometimes. So it's very good for looting, but also because it's near the sanatorium, which is the extraction point. So you might as well, if you're doing sanatorium runs, you'll definitely need his eye for a chance of extra loot. So that's actually pretty good. Okay, now we'll go back to the central building over here. Oh yeah, the Mad Bomber can also spawn around here, so that's why I have this element over here. I kind of forgot about this. So yeah, the Mad Bomber can also be over here. It doesn't look like it, but it's kind of like a construction area as well. Or Missile also likes to hang around here as well. I also recommend use the teleportation bubbles. As you can see, they're all over the place. For example, if your extraction point is over there, you can just go to the merchant, use teleport bubble 1, you go over here, and then you go to the extraction point. Or if you spawn, let's say in the south over here, you can use teleport bubble 2. You arrive here, you go over here to the merchant, and then you use 1, you go over here. You kind of get the idea. You'll have to use the teleport bubbles in a very specific way, but they're already marked, so let's not talk about them. Now over here we have a few more complicated bosses. Now over here is Vida, or killer, and he tends to spawn about 1 out of every 3 or 4 attempts. Now I think all of the bosses have a pretty much a 40% chance to spawn, but you know how probability is, they don't really spawn. So with Vida, or killer, it's kind of like a big gamble if he spawns or not, but there'll be a problem with the red ghost sometimes spawning around here. So the red ghost spawns about 1 in 3 or 4 games as well, and he can patrol this area, or this area, or sometimes even this area. So I don't recommend you try to kill Vida when the red ghost is around. Kind of avoid it as much as you can. And I recommend you kill Vida as many times as you can, because he's one of the bosses that drops really good loot, meaning a very cool gun, a very cool armor set. You can just even sell it for money, because you can get a lot of money for his stuff, but he's just too cool not to kill. Also, I recommend you just bring the boss out. You can either fight him in the parking lot, or you can fight him over here. I recommend you fight him in the parking lot, because you have more cover. Over here you just have the buses, but if you can get him out over here and throw grenades, you shoot a couple of times and then you go back and then you throw a grenade, it's pretty easy to kill him. But this is one of the highest loot areas in the game over here with this locked room. Plus you can have some loot over here as well, but also some loot over here. I guess I should have showed you this from the beginning, but okay. The keys are very important for this loot as well. Now we only have a couple of bosses left. The city hall, the security captain. Actually, the security captain might be the hardest boss on the entire map, in my opinion. Well, except for the red ghost, but the red ghost is a totally different discussion. The problem with this guy is that he throws a lot of grenades, and his helpers are actually pretty competent at their jobs, and they'll kill you pretty fast. So I can't either take him out of the building through here or through here, but through here it's a little harder. Here is just a long, narrow hallway, and you can just shoot him and retreat if he throws a grenade. Very useful boss to kill a lot of times because he will always carry the extended machine gun. Oh no, we need to heal. Well, that will just be a bit of an annoying sound, so let's take a break. While you're speaking about the security captain. The security captain, like I said, will always have extended magazines. Sometimes it will be a tier 2, sometimes it will be a tier 3, which will be super useful for all of your assault rifles, because that's what he uses, assault rifle. Plus, he'll give a lot of assault rifle ammo, plus some grenades and some other stuff. So as you can see, some bosses are very good to kill just so you can kill other bosses easier, or I guess it depends on the point of view, but usually you'll have the same bosses that you really want to farm a couple of times. Let's go looting again. Next will be the Fly Squad. The Fly Squad is a bit of a mystery because they have a weird tendency to sometimes spawn, sometimes not spawn. But usually you'll find them, the most often you'll find them in the apartment building. But you can also find them in the J labs. Also look at that, the Great Ghost has spawned. He'll probably patrol that area or this area. Over here you can also have the Fly Squad. This is where they will appear most of the times. But they can also appear in any place that has a bathroom, like the construction site dormitory. Like I said, in the J labs, and basically any place that can have a bathroom. I haven't found them in many locations, but I'm pretty sure they'll spawn in something like, you get the idea, a weird location. So these two locations are the locations I found them the most. They drop their little toilet guns, and they have two types of toilet guns, one for the boss and one for his followers. Plus anyway, they drop a lot of cool stuff. I recommend you kill them a couple of times so you can get their backpacks and their other stuff. Very cool stuff, even though they're a bit stinky. Okay, so I think that's all of the bosses that we needed to cover. Well, if I miss something, definitely let me know. Now let's speak about the other locations that are on the map. Now, a very big location on the map. Oh, by the way, over here is the chemical plant. You need a gas mask, and here you will have robots. So, if you want to kill robots during the day because it's easier, you can just come over here with the gas mask to kill them. It's actually pretty good loot as well, but you need to have a little patience because they're kind of hard to kill in that area. But the good part is that no one will bother you over here. Another automation is over here, by the way. Very important. So, I already spoke about the hidden mine, so let's just take it kind of like how it is now. The sanatorium is a huge quest location right now. It also is a pretty good place to loot, but you can have the Halloween ghost spawn over here. I'm not sure if this will be a permanent event or not, but you'll need to come here probably, I would say, 10 to 20 times, depending how lucky you get, for all of the materials to farm blue cubes from the ghost by disassembling their ghost fibers. To get the amulet from the ghost, to get the skite from the ghost, to do the quest with the bell, and just so many things you can get here from the ghost. I'll not even mention it. At 11:30 you can ring the bell to summon the ghosts. Very important location with a lot of loot behind the closed doors as well. The fishing dock, well, you fish, and of course there are some high loot crates over here, but sometimes there can be mercenaries, sometimes there can be raiders on the dock. But it's also a pretty good location to search for loot because it's pretty empty most of the times anyway. Pharmacy. Pharmacy is one of the most important looting locations in the game currently, because here is where you'll get all of your injectors and all of your medical supplies which are needed for quests. You can also of course get ladexes and some other stuff, but mostly it's very good for the injectors that you need for upgrading something or doing something. Very cool location. Over here you can get the headmaster key, but you can also have some weapon crates and some other stuff, so you're probably a lot in this area, so that's why I marked it as loot, because you'll also have some trash cans and some other things to loot. It will be probably the easiest way to cross the map from the northern side of the island over here to the sanatorium, so you'll probably take this route a couple of times, so it's worth looting as well. Construction site dormitory, well, if you don't have the flies in it, disgusting. Actually, it's a pretty good looting location because it has the locked rooms where you can find a lot of loot, like the safes, the cabinets, the other stuff over here. So it's definitely one of the better locations that most people don't even look at, but it's there. Also, this is a hidden loot area. You have a crafting recipe for a desert eagle. Now you need the rubber coveralls in order to get it, because if you go down there will be electricity. But this is the easiest way to get a desert eagle recipe, and then you can just craft it and use it, and it's probably one of the easiest way to get a strong early game gun. And the desert eagle is super strong, so I guess that's worth exploring as well when you first come to the map and you have the rubber coveralls, if you have them. Northern Factory. Oh yeah, by the way, I should have marked this as well. So these two tunnels are possible expansion points. So yeah, the developers can take you through the tunnels to other locations. They can use the spaceship to go to other planets. They can use the sewers to unlock new areas. They can use the boat to unlock new areas because you also have a boatman. Very fun concept. The Northern Factory, you just have this building over here to loot. Not a lot. Also, over here in the grass, I will sometimes find a military handheld radio. So that's worth exploring as well if you need it. Over here, the radar station, to be honest, doesn't really have a lot of loot, but I think I should have marked this as a pretty good looting area because it's pretty clear after you kill the shotgunner. So from village, yeah, this is the best looting area in the... Well, I guess I would say this is the area that you can loot to get the highest value items. So the sheer amount of items that you can get from these houses is huge, but they're not particularly valuable, but at the same time you can get a lot of them, so that's why I marked them. Over here is also a pretty good looting area over here as well. The mercenary camp obviously is a pretty good looting area if you can cross the fire with the asbestos suit. 2 pieces of the asbestos suit to gain immunity to ground fire. Office apartment building is also pretty good for looting. City hall is good for looting. I explained that. And that's kind of like it for the looting spots. Now, I should have said this with the sanatorium part, but the sanatorium is tied to a location over here. So over here it's a location where you can give carved pumpkin heads, meaning the pumpkin heads you make with a light bulb. If you sacrifice 3 of them, you can get a secret item, and well, not really a secret item, but you get the idea. You can get a witch set, so you can get a witch hat, a witch robe, and a fire staff or something like that. So there are 3 items you can get from here, at least for the time being, with the carved pumpkin heads. The ones that you make with the light bulbs in your base. So very important as well. And by the way, this is the beacon, one beacon. The second beacon will be over here in the mercenary camp, which we need the full asbestos suit to cross. You also have the marked rooms, which are marked as well, so that's a mark from X and O. The better route is in room O. And over here we just have the phone booth. One is over here, and one is over here. Now about the phone booths have numbers, and you can call those numbers to get some hidden loot, but you actually have to call both phone booths to get the candy stuff. So this is where you get the candy recipe, the candy ammo recipe, the candy gun ammo recipe, and over here you can get the candy gun itself. So you have to use the number on both of these locations. Oh, that's actually a lot of locations that have really cool stuff. I don't think I missed anything, but if I missed anything, just tell me in the comments, and then we'll make kind of like a big comment, and then I'll pin it. So if you have any other comments or something worth mentioning or adding to this guide I made for the Farm Town map, just tell me and I'll add it in the pinned comments. Yeah, enjoy the game. Bye bye.